Hello viewers, Super GT here, welcome back to another video in the GT Endurance Hopper. You can see it here, the BMW M6, so a brand new car to the game. It's always good to see new GT cars in the game, of course. So we're going to give it a try, see how it does. There's plenty of cars that are good in this hopper. Let's see if this one is. The paint here, very good job by TR the Flash. So here we are then, Lime Rock Park, 24 laps of mayhem. Let's see how we do, starting in 16th after 23, so near enough a full lobby. And I was going to say it's a 24 lap race, but it's only taken 24 metres before the first contact has occurred, and it's only taken up until the first apex before a car park has formed, and we're going to get through that just about. So you can see here, up to 12th place, so a couple of positions gained already. So this is the first corner that we have become accustomed to in this game. Surprisingly, really, in this hopper, because it's got endurance in the name. You don't really need to go all out, all guns blazing on turn one. But it does seem to be the case in many races. So trying to get the car back on this guy, slightly misjudge it, so it's not quite going to occur there as I go all over the grass. And then the Audi kind of just chops him off last second. Hinders his momentum. Got the inside, but then he's going to get a nice cut back on me. Someone sliding through there, someone in the pit lane as well. So two positions gained and crossing the line to end lap number one. Looking around the outside then, it is possible to do this move, but he just needs to accelerate there, and he does, just to get ahead. Big slide as he exits the corner. Gives me the run around the outside into the appropriately named the left-hander. So he kind of got cut off there by the Audi mid-apex. So that gives me the run around the outside into 7th place. So nearly gained 10 positions already. Into the uphill, appropriately named again, of course, because it is going uphill. And then into West Bend. Look up the inside. There's always a chance you could just nip up the inside here, going down the hill into the final corner. It's not quite going to happen this time. So being patient here. Again, it is an endurance race. Let's see how the straight line speed is in this car. I have heard that it's not the best. This is the first time I'm actually driving this car, so I'm judging it on the fly, and we'll see how we go. Basically, getting used to it so far. It seems like a very reasonable car. The Audi kind of gets pushed wide there. I'm going to make the most of that. Up into 6th place. Aston Martin, 2 of them actually. Or maybe 3, I can't quite make out the car in 3rd place there. I'm going to look around the outside of this guy. Takes a really narrow line in, doesn't carry much speed through. So that's me up into 5th place. A good lap so far, up a couple of positions. The other Aston on the Audi, flying up the inside with a bit of grass as well. And I'm past the Audi on the outside. Now this Aston going to get very sideways through the final corner, and I couldn't quite capitalise on that. I'm going to put out to the left-hand side, faster in a straight line than the Aston Martin, although that's not saying too much. We make contact on the way in. I tried to squeeze him towards the apex. Kind of happened, I guess. I'm around the outside into 3rd place. I've got another BMW here in 2nd, now 3rd, as I take over 2nd place. So that's what, 3 1/4 laps or 3 1/3 laps. And we are from 16th up into 2nd already. So far quite a good run. Now I'm not going to cut this video at all. It's just going to be one race, one gameplay from start to finish, so you can see absolutely everything unedited. Coming through the final corner, someone's spinning out, going to move right over to the right hand side. You just never know what they're going to do when they rejoin. Luckily he ghosted out anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I think it's just best to take no chances. People do love to come back onto the track at 90 degrees, cause the absolute most chaos they possibly can, and were I to hit him, it could have caused a big pile up of the big pack behind me. So trying to reel in the leader now. So this guy got a nice early lead, made the most of the troubles in the mid pack, and just bolted basically. But again, in an endurance race, you have plenty of time to try and track him down. Normally these races in this hopper lasting around about 20 minutes, often more. Down the hill, just turning in as you reach the bottom of the hill, kind of an extra gravitational effect. You feel more grip as you turn in there. So catching up with the Aston Martin in the lead here. The Aston Martin, I mean, it's not saying too much that we're quicker in a straight line than the Aston. The Aston is notoriously slow in a line in this division. In this Hopper though, it is one of the best handling cars. That is of no doubt, and around many circuits it is the outright quickest car. So we're already catching up with the Backmarkers. This is always going to be a threat, always something you have to deal with in these endurance races, when especially you're on one of the shorter tracks like this is. So two of them there just wiping each other out. That kind of helps us. So THT guy here, is he gonna go defensive a little bit? And not quite enough though, because I'm on the right hand side into the first corner, and I just brake a little late. I was going to leave the space wide open on the right hand side. He's going to go into it, he's going to accept that invitation and move back into the lead. So a decent retake by him. I'm going to look up the inside then into the left hander. People do take very strange lines into that corner. I think you do need to go in very early and very narrow into that one and pivot mid corner. And I think he went in a little bit too late. It left him wide open and vulnerable, and I made the most of it, taking over the lead of the race on this lap number 7. A little bit wide there. That's going to put me on the back foot as we go downhill into the downhill, then exiting the corner onto the main straight. That is well taken, and you can see here, just can't quite live with the speed of the BMW. The BMW here seems to be okay. I'm only using the stock tune, so I haven't actually really done any work to it at all, and it seems very manageable to drive. From what I can tell though, the upgrading of this car is actually fairly tricky to do. The standard PI is 831, and the maximum in this car is 835, but it's very hard to actually get this any higher than 831. So most tuners you are giving away 4 PI. But it does seem to be a very good car. It has a long wheelbase, so it does seem to turn a bit slowly, but it is very manageable, very stable. And coming out the final corner here, got a lagging Audi. I'm not sure where the hell he is exactly. Kind of lagging back and forwards into the first corner. He's just going to take, well, clearly too late, a braking point, and go off onto the grass. So far the Backmarkers have been fairly kind, mostly just driving straight off the track for me. I suppose you could call it the Super GT effect, but I'm really not sure anymore what the hell is going on. It's hard to say really what people see, what do the other players see, because I think one thing that you should always try to be in this game is aware. Awareness really does save your life so many times. Just checking behind, checking. I mean, there's many ways you can know where people are. Obviously, just by looking just straight with the camera as it is, as we go into the pit lane. Then you have the distance markers on the left-hand side of the screen. We'll talk about that actually in just a moment as we go into the pit lane. I think someone else has followed me in here, so we're just going to come out. We're going to come out, I think, behind a very big pack as we exit now. Yeah, in 3rd place, so going down only 2 positions, but on the map you can see a good maybe 6 or 7 cars ahead of us. Anyway, back to the awareness point. You have on the left hand side, just above the positions, that's the it tells you the distance of the cars ahead and behind. So that is one way of knowing if someone is like directly behind you without having to look behind. Of course, you can just look behind as well. And you have, of course, the map, which is very important. So all these tools, there's plenty of tools you can use to know exactly where people are, and it is obviously very important to know, because just simply knowing, being aware of everything as much as you can know is always going to help you just minimise the amount of crashes you're involved in and just maximise your speed, and knowing when to defend of course as well. So there's many ways of becoming more aware. It's one of the things I grade very highly on the success of being, well, of just being successful online in this game, being aware. See, they're just making the most of those 2 Backmarkers quite easily, make short work of them. They weren't really taking the best line, so through past them without losing too much time. That is In endurance racing, one of the key aspects, really minimising your time loss when you're going past the slower vehicles. I mean, you're not really going to gain time unless you're on a long straight and slipstreaming them. But around a track like this, there's not really much scope for slipstreaming, so you're most of the time going to be losing time as you're finding a way past, pushing way too much through the exit of the final corner, crossing the line then onto lap number 12, taking back second place as he was in the pit lane. I think it's XRS Kaiser Wolf, so the Might of Spain is in the lobby here, one of the fastest players in the world actually. I think it was in New York where he actually finished in the top 5, so no doubt a very fast driver in this game. But we do have a good 1500 feet advantage over him at the moment, so I think he would have started further back, perhaps got involved in that melee on lap 1. Chances are that he were involved, because you can see there was about 2,000 cars involved in that first corner pile-up. Luckily I managed to get through it just about okay. So the guy ahead here, he was the leader, there he goes flying into the pit lane. So I retake the lead, and that is halfway, half of the race done. So halfway through the video pretty much, and we have 12 more laps remaining, as I've said many times in the video and in previous videos of this exact hopper. Backmarkers are a problem, you just never quite know what you're going to get with them. Some of them are very nice, some just kind of get out of the way for you. I mean, I don't think they have to really get out of the way, as long as they're not ridiculously blocking you. You just still have to put in some effort to try and get past them sometimes. And we have another guy coming up here, and he's going to rejoin. I'm going to go to the far right, like the English Defence League, down the hill then, through the final corner. You just never know, as I said. And again, we're going to move to the far right, just to completely make sure that we avoid what is going on there. You just never know how they're quite going to spin into your path. So just best off taking 0 chances. So through the apex of the first corner with the left. So this is what I mean, take the first early apex, then pivot the car, take the second apex, go to the left hand side to get a good run through the right hander onto this back straight, or the no-name straight as it's called. I like to dip 2 wheels onto this curve on the left hand side, just graze it, throw the car in. You can use a bit of the extra tarmac on the left hand side. The car will go light as you go over the crest there, into the right of the west bend, on the throttle nice and early there, down the hill, turning in at the bottom of the hill to get maximum entry speed. We're through there beautifully, and it was a good lap, not pushing too much. You can obviously push for that fastest lap, but then you risk just making one mistake, going off into the grass, and then losing even more time. So again, another valid point about endurance racing, risk versus reward. You do need consistency. I suppose you don't really want to push too much early in the race, but if it's clear that you need to catch up towards the end, then you can start really getting the hammer down and then making the most of your car's potential. So into the right hander of the uphill, over the crest, guy up ahead, he's making the most of the grass as he goes sliding through West Bend. So making that decision, can we go for a move to the final corner? No, too far behind. But then just trying to get a good run through here to perhaps go for a move into the first corner. We're going to tuck into that slipstream. He's in the same car. Looks like the same kind of tune as well. He brakes very early. He's going to give us the invitation to go up the inside and take an easy position. Just swiping across the back end of the car there. Very close to contact, and that's what I mean. You just never know. That could have been very different had he had just taken a bit more speed through there and we had made contact. Luckily this time just about escaped with my life. So through the no-name straight and once again into the uphill, dipping 2 wheels off the curb, throwing it in, the car just gliding through there beautifully, and the car really is in just gliding through these corners in full control really. It's just very, very easy to drive, very manageable. I don't think it turns quite as well as some of the cars. I just sense that mid apex, when you get on the throttle, it is tending to straighten itself out a bit more than it would in other cars. So 2 more people, 2 more backmarkers there, just wiping each other out. So as I was saying, yeah, it kind of, once you get on the throttle in a car, the car kind of wants to straighten itself, so it won't turn as well as soon as you get on the throttle. So you do have to time your throttle application quite precisely. I think there are other cars that do turn slightly better when on the throttle compared to this one. And then again, as I said, this is only the stock tune. That can be changed with a lot of the settings, mainly differential settings, but as it is, it's a fairly good tune in the stock form. Down the hill then, we are coming up to finish lap number 17, and we move into the final course of the race. So just going past this Aston Martin, he moves nicely over to the right hand side, so let me go through. That's what I mean, you just never know. Some Backmarkers very kind, just let you go through, and minimum time loss there really for me, so good news on that front. It doesn't look as though Kaiser Wolf is quite going to be able to catch up. It's just always an interesting thing to look at, I guess, just dealing with Backmarkers, even if there's no threat in terms of the race. It doesn't look like second place is anywhere near is going to be able to challenge in this instance, but you just never know. Again, if there's one collision, one Backmarker decides to punt me into a wall and I lose 20 seconds, then that could be the race lost. So just looking at the map once again, so this is just awareness, and awareness 101. Just checking out the map constantly. Where are the people? How many people will have to deal with on this lap? So we've got one car just straight up ahead, and then another one maybe a second ahead of him. So here it kind of slows down. I was preparing to overtake him coming out of this corner, but he just slowed right down. So having to dip around the outside. So I see a group of 3 or 4 just around the uphill corner here, and one just ahead of us here. So there's going to be quite a few cars to try and deal with. So, I mean, one strategy you could employ here, I've got a big gap, I could just not bother overtaking them. They don't seem too slow, so I wouldn't lose too much time just by staying behind them. There's always a risk by overtaking people that they could crash into the back of you. So, mitigating risk, of course, just by staying behind, that would eliminate a lot of risk, but then you risk falling into the hands of second place. So, up behind an Audi, a very commonly chosen car in this hopper. And kind of brakes really early, lets me go through, I think. So that was quite an easy take into the right hander, just dipping 2 wheels onto the curb. Someone very wide, plenty of mud being kicked up into the air out of the exit of the right hander of turn 4 up the hill. The crest just making the car go really light and gives you a bit of a slide through there. It does actually feel quite nice to correct that slide. And then down the hill for the 20th time, only 4 more times left to go, and then we are done in this race. So again, a group of 3 just up ahead. Let's see how we can go about negotiating these 3 Backmarkers. So the Porsche RSR first up to be lapped as a left-hander. You can see here pretty much everyone taking that really wide entry into this corner, which does leave him open to being overtaken, and it isn't as fast, I can tell you that. Pretty much every line I've seen on Rivals always takes that very narrow, and then through here, a bit wide at the apex, trying to get that good run onto this little straight. So lots of little straights here. Someone wide on the left hand side, I'm not going to have to worry about him rejoining in the path of this race. This guy goes a little bit wide, a bit of a slide. We can just undercut him on the exit. So another overtake cleanly done. I think I've been very fortunate in this race so far. So plenty of people just throwing themselves off the track, as this guy does once again, and many people just braking and getting out of the way. So this is actually a good example of how it can be quite good. Just regrettably, I think the main regret really is that there's so much carnage on the first opening exchanges that the race really just opened up immediately. So it wasn't really a close race, but it was still an interesting one. You know, you just never know what might happen. So 2 more Backmarkers ahead of us. As I said, that this little group here is actually fairly fast, so it's almost a shame that they're a lap down. I just wish that they were on the same lap. It might have been a really close race. You can almost just pretend that they are on the same lap as you. As we cross the line, only 2 more laps remaining in this race. We've crossed the 19-minute barrier. So checking the second apex here, turn 1. Let's see which line this guy goes for. You just see immediately how much time I gain through there. He's going to move over to the right hand side and just let me go through. I'm not really sure how this is happening. Quite a lot of people. It's actually a fairly well conducted lobby, this one, must be said. And then through over the uphill. Just running out of ways to describe this circuit because I've had to say it 23 times over and over. As we go under the bridge, down the hill, through the shadows. And then just clipping the curb on the inside. You can see the guy up ahead having a little bit of trouble. And I think he's in the M3 GT2. So BMW seem to have a good say in this GT Endurance hopper. So we've of course got the car I'm driving here, the M6. We have the M3 GT2, which is the car just being driven up ahead there, which I really like. It's probably my favourite car in this whole hopper, whole class. And of course we have the Z4, which is a really good handling car. Really good handling car. So they kind of have a good range of cars. It'd be interesting to see if this car can be tuned up with a bit better top end, and then hopefully it'll be a really good one overall. So really catching up with this guy, VRS full chat into the final corner. He's actually going to bail out. He didn't really have to do that because as we come through here, as I'm so far ahead, I'm just going to move over to the right hand side, just slow down and let the pack basically catch up, just to make sure people do finish. I'm just going to move over there because I think I was blocking the circuit from that guy who's possibly going for an overtake. So we're just going to wait for Kaiser Wolf to come through. And we're going to cross the line, there we go. To claim a win, a 49.495 fastest lap. Let's see how that compares, because Kaiser Wolf there has done a 49.496, so 1,000th of a second. His was a dirty lap, but you just never know. He might have just had slipstream from someone else. But in the end, it's a little convincing victory, and I think it is a good thing just to bring you a whole unedited gameplay, because sometimes people just like to get in the flow of one race and just see exactly what I'm doing for one race rather than skipping ahead multiple times. But I just hope you enjoyed this video, guys, as much as I enjoyed being part of it. It was quite a good one actually. The conduct was really good, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you do, smash that like button if you enjoyed. I shall see you next time. As always, goodbye.
Listen.